these businesses, a franchisee, something like an existing kiosk or franchisee, you can start as low as $150,000. I sold ice cream shops or donut shops around that $150,000 to $200,000 mark, and they are making anywhere about 70 to 80,000 as passive income. The beauty of Subway is that if you see, a Subway owner is not just one store owner. I know Subway owners who own like 7-8 stores and everything, and they are not in the business. They do something else, and those stores are still running.
Because the processes are so much set in stone that it makes that much easier. I had a client who's working in IT, doing 9 to 5, kind of frustrated with the routine and wants more flexibility, freedom, and also more income. Are there any potential business opportunities that someone who wants to keep that job but wants something on the side can consider? Vaibhav, thank you so much for joining us today. I am actually going to get straight into the questions that I've had that from people when they knew that I'm talking to someone who's a business broker. I had a client who's working in IT, doing 9 to 5, kind of frustrated with the routine and wants more flexibility, freedom, and also more income. Are there any potential business opportunities that someone who wants to keep that job but wants something on the side can consider?
Sure. Yeah, thanks for having me, Priyanka. Again, very, very interesting question, and you won't believe if I get 10 calls, for example, in a day, 5 are from IT people,
Really?
right? Yeah. So where it is like the husband and wife, they are both working in IT, or one of the partners is working in IT, or even if you can consider any other job, not just IT, where it's like an office job, Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right?
Sure.
Now, obviously, due to AI and all those things which are coming in place, automations, artificial intelligence, people have a fear of losing their jobs, right? And especially in a country like Australia, there is a lot of offshoring which happens to subcontinent countries like India, where people have that fear in their mind that they'll lose their job. So how do they maintain the current lifestyle? And if they have done investments, how do they maintain that? Right. So that is where I always tell these people that there are certain good passive income management businesses, right, which you can take over, which would probably require, again, when I say passive income business, it's not that you are sitting at home and doing nothing about it. 20% of your time still should be dedicated to those businesses, right? And you can basically make an extra income around it, right? So to give you an example, there are a lot of franchisees like donut franchisees, frozen yogurt franchisees, ice cream franchisees. We have beauty salon franchisees where you hire employees, right? And in a shopping center, for example, right, you have a kiosk where you hire employees who are managing it. You just need to make sure the processes are in place. But since you are with a franchisee, they already have certain defined processes in place which you follow every day, right? And obviously go there once or twice a week just to make sure that the stock is working in there. The employees are basically the roster is all defined in there. And the third one would be, again, customer management, right? That there is no complaints around anything like cleanliness, right? So these are certain businesses which you can do part-time as well.
Sure. Okay, perfect. So I think, are you saying that I can even manage it with, say, a 1 or 2 hour commitment a day?
Yes, absolutely. You can do that. You just need to make sure there are cameras now. You can basically sit at home and just watch through camera. How's your store performing, right? Another good example for this one is play centers, which I deal a lot in play centers across Australia, where people kind of work from the office in the play center at the back office, and the play center is running as it is. And whenever they are required there, like if a customer comes in, they want to do a birthday party, they can come out, have a chat with the customer, go back to their work in the office. So rather than working from home, you sit in the back office and then you do that.
That's really good. Again, for these sort of businesses, what sort of investment would we be talking about?
So these businesses, a franchisee, something like an existing kiosk or franchisee, you can start as low as $150,000, right? And I do have examples where I sold ice cream shops or donut shops, right, or kiosk in this sense, in good shopping centers for around that $150,000 to $200,000 mark, and they are making anywhere about 70 to 80,000 as passive income, where owners are not standing there and working in it, but obviously doing a passive management where they can spend 1 or 2 hours a day just to make sure all the things which are required for the
Sure.
business are happening.
It's getting done,
Yeah.
right? And you would do all the due diligence when there's a business coming on board, that the processes are robust and everything would continue to go on as it is, or like what is the due diligence that is needed to be done from a buyer's point of view?
So, Priyanka, again, this is a very wide topic, but I'll give you a quick detail because buying a business is not as easy as buying a house, right?
Sure.
So, if it's a house, right, because people understand real estate investment easily. So, when a house is on market, as a buyer, you would go and you exactly know what suburb you want to buy in, where your kids would go to, which school. So you are very much pinpoint on a location,
Yeah,
right?
there's good amount of clarity there.
Is there,
Yeah.
right? So you basically see a house, if it's a 3-bedroom house, 4-bedroom house, 5-bedroom house, it's in a budget of 1 million, 1.5 million, $2 million. So you exactly know, right? If something is worth $2 million and my budget is 1.5, I obviously wouldn't go there and have a look, right? And then you can go do an inspection, check the section 32, get your conveyancer in. If everything is good, you put your offer, right? So again, easy process, and there is a lot of things which have been defined
Sure.
around that, and
It's
it's
more
easy, more regulated as well,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So in business, the thing is when you are trying to buy a business, people think about businesses in a different way, right? I get customers who are pretty sure that they want to buy a certain type of business, right? I'll give you an example. If I have a customer who says, I want to buy a petrol station, right? They are very much confident that, okay, they have been running a fuel station before. They want to buy a fuel station now, right? So they know that, they understand how the things work. But in business, you have to be careful. The numbers given to you or presented to you might not be accurate every time, right? There is a lot of things involved where there is kind of your FPOS component or a cash component there, right? So you just need to make sure the numbers which are being provided to you, the cost of goods which are being provided to you, the employment cost which is being provided to you is all as per the market standard, right? I might have people who might say that, okay, I pay someone $20 an hour, right? But the fair work rate is $28 an hour, right? Yeah, this guy might be paying $20 an hour because it's a family member or someone who is doing it, right? But then when you buy a business, you need to make sure that, yeah, I basically give them $28 an hour, and that is how I will see the numbers in there. And with every business, I highly advise everyone, whenever you are trying to buy the business from us or from any other brokers in the market or even directly from the vendors, right? Make sure you have a proper accountant who can go through the numbers, who can understand, right? You can even hire someone like us as buying advisors, where we basically go through and do all the due diligence which is required, and then give you an accurate report on how this business is, because we understand what a
100%.
similar business in the market is.
Yes, absolutely. And I guess that expertise that you bring on the table helps, because someone who's just not having any experience who goes to buy the business needs an expert like an accountant and yourself to guide them through it.
Correct.
Thanks for sharing that. Are there any businesses that are more in demand based on either they generate higher profits or are easier to run?
Okay, so there we do have people who demand, like for example, petrol stations. Now, for some people, everyone thinks that petrol stations are really easy to run and we'll keep someone there. And in some cases, if the processes are defined, it's the case is real as well. But again, you have to be very careful in a country like Australia around audits as well, right? And licenses and audits, they are. So if you don't maintain those properly, there's a company brand name associated with you when you are running that fuel station, right? So if you don't do it properly, there is a chance that you might be breached out, right? So whenever you get into a fuel station as well, you have to make sure that you understand your responsibility for the business. Other ones which we have, as I mentioned initially, play centers. So play centers, again, very, very good businesses. You hire young staff there, right? And Monday to Friday, not much stress. If there are school holidays, there are people, but Monday to Friday, normally it's not very busy. What you need to basically focus on Saturday, Sunday, when your birthday parties are there, when the bigger crowd is there, right? And then obviously people come under passive management. I get a lot of questions asked around automated car washes, laundromats, right? They are also available in the market, but very rare. Whenever we get one, it kind of sells. Like the last laundromat I sold was in less than 12 hours.
Really? Because
Yeah,
they're more of autopilot mode
correct.
businesses, right? Because you don't really have to
Oh,
do
yes,
much.
absolutely. So, again, laundromat is actually something which you don't need to look at it, right? I have a client from Melbourne who has two laundromats in Tasmania, right? And probably goes there probably once in 6 months or something.
Sure.
But he has cameras there where he can look at. He has a cleaning company who basically
Who
come
does
in
that.
and they make sure that everything is in place
Sure.
and the cleaning is done. And then he has a rental company with that. So they also come in, and any services which are like, if there is any servicing required for the machines, for the air conditioning and everything, that can be done over
Okay.
the phone. So,
Right, fair enough. Because I think it makes sense that those businesses would be so much more in demand because they're easier to
yeah,
run than
absolutely.
any
They're
others.
easy to run. Yes.
This episode is sponsored by Finsol Insurance, where we help families protect what matters most: your health, your loved ones, and your lifestyle. Life is unpredictable, but your financial security shouldn't be. So, if you're a parent, a homeowner, or just someone who values peace of mind, make sure that you are protected with the right protection. Use the link below to book a strategy call and take the first step towards securing your future. For someone who's maybe like a truck driver whose hours may be irregular, are there certain business models or business types that they could look into?
Again, when we were talking about the IT people 9 to 5, right? These businesses which I've spoken about, they can be even done by tradies, truck drivers who have irregular hours. What you need to do is you need to see if those processes are in place.
Sure.
Right? You don't need to be in the business all the time, but obviously keep an eye, right? And as I said, if you can spend 20% of your time into the business, right? That's pretty much what is required. And it could be not just Monday to Friday, 9 to 5. It could be on a Saturday evening when you are sitting and making sure the rosters for the next week are being done. What's the status of your stock and all those things. Another good business, which I did not mention initially, which are in demand as well, are tax lotto and post offices as well. Right. So there also you can basically run those tax office and post tax lotto and post offices in more of a autopilot mode if you have the right people in place. So if you have a good manager in place who can take care of all your employees and all those things. And the really good part about those ones is that everything is as per the system. So for example, you cannot sell a tax lotto ticket without entering it into the system.
Right.
So if you have bought a tax lotto, Priyanka, and I'm your employee, right? At the end of the day, there's a report which comes out which says that you have made, for example, $700 in commission, right? And $500 is through FPOS. So
Sure.
I'm liable to show you $200 as cash payments.
Right.
So it's that one is also easy because obviously
It's secure
secured.
ways.
In passive management, you just need to make sure that you are able to trust your employees that
Sure.
they are doing the right thing for your business.
Sure. And again, all these businesses also come in the same capital investment of 150 to 200K or?
No. So businesses vary now. That is where we come into another question of business valuation.
Sure.
Right. So different businesses, Priyanka, they come at different valuations.
Yeah, the
right?
metrics would vary.
Depending upon the financials,
Yes.
how old is the business, and that is how we come out with a 1x, 2x, 3x valuation from the EBITDA. Right. So if I have to give you an example, I'll give you a bit of a different businesses and a bit of example. So the cheapest one in the market would be something like a chattel sale, where a cafe is not running and everything. You basically go in there, you have a look that if I have to set up a commercial kitchen or tables and chairs and boards and everything like this, it will cost me $150,000. But because this guy is not running it, they are selling at $50,000. So is that something I can come and buy for $50,000 and then run it? because I have a business plan in mind, right? Just need to make sure that if that guy is not successful, what's the reason of being not successful, right?
Sure.
Have they left the business, or the business is not able to attract the right crowd or
People
the
or the
sales
location and
and everything, right? After that, I told you about the kiosks, right? So they are like, again, cheaper setup, 150 $200,000. You can set up a kiosk in a shopping mall and start a business there.
Yeah.
Then it comes to the shops, right? Now the shop in a shopping center would be obviously more expensive to do the fit out, and obviously in rent as well, as compared to a shop in a shopping strip. And it might vary from area. We are in Melbourne, so something in outer suburbs in the east, for example, in Clyde or Officer and outer suburbs, you might get a bit cheaper, right? As compared to something you are sitting in Chadstone, right?
Yes.
Even Chadstone shopping center is expensive, but the shops outside would be expensive as well, right?
Sure.
So that is there. And then comes to high value businesses like petrol stations, again, depending upon the amount of sales they are doing. Tax lot of post office, they are hard to get. Right. So
because
post
high
offices
demand, yeah.
would be valued at 4x or something of their EBITDA, because obviously there are lesser opportunities in the market.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
Play centers, Tats Lotto, 2.5, 3x of their EBITDA.
Okay.
Right. So
Fair
that
enough.
is there. And then I forgot to discuss, there are online e-commerce businesses
Yes.
also, which we sell. We have sold a few in the past.
Sure.
So those can be dropship businesses, right? And they can also get valued at, depending on 3x, 4x of their
The turnover
EBITDA.
or EBITDA. Okay.
Of their EBITDA.
Okay. Perfect. I think they would also be high in demand businesses, considering they are low effort.
Yes, absolutely. But Priyanka, the question I always ask, and why it's sometimes difficult for us to sell online businesses, is that, like, first, the person who's buying it needs to understand how, for example, an SEO would work, how a social media marketing would work, how would you generate revenue on your websites, right? Would the new technology which is coming in, would it kind of hamper the current rating of the store, or is there a new competitor in the market who's selling the same thing at a cheaper price, right? Some of them are really, really good, right? They make really good money. If somebody takes it over, does the same things what the previous owner has been doing, they can be really good money. But people want to see brick and mortar.
Correct.
Right. So if they don't see something which is a shop or a petrol station or a play center, people then think that this is not something I might be able to run, or tomorrow if the website goes away or something happens, gets hacked, what will I do?
There should be some level of personal interest and
Correct.
a little bit of expertise as well if you're going down
Correct.
that
Absolutely.
path.
So that is
Makes sense. One thing I was personally interested in knowing is, how does a return on business compare to investment property returns? Because you see people investing in property all the time. Is there a comparison that we could do between the two? Like, should somebody choose to invest in a business versus a property?
right. So very interesting question, Priyanka. And it is not a direct comparison which we can do. Obviously, getting into a property is easy. You see a lot of nowadays there is a lot of buyer agents in the market who kind of give that you get like 6-7% return on an investment property and everything, and that is how you can build a portfolio. But my question is always that once you are buying these properties, a banker is giving you loan for these properties based on your income,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
If this income stops,
Yeah.
how would you buy more properties? Or tomorrow, if there is a problem with the property that you cannot put it on rent for 6 months, how would you pay for those ones?
Sure.
Right. So that is where what we say to people is, as we say, like, don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? You keep on investing in your property, make your big property portfolio, and we'll be discussing about a bit of property as well in here. But what I say is that build a side income or business with your job. If you don't have it, try to enter into a business, right? You just need to take that first step, right? If you don't take that first step and you keep on thinking that I have to do something, I'll doing it. Comparison with property, property, it will give you a fixed return. Obviously, Australia is growing. People who have bought 10 years back have now even doubled their properties or investment, or even three times it, right? With business, you always have an opportunity to grow, right? And there are a lot of examples, and there are people who started with like $100,000 and building multi-million dollar business,
Agree.
right? You cannot build a Microsoft or a Amazon or a Tesla
On a 9 to
or a
5.
billionaire on a 9 to 5, or just buying like one property, two
Property.
property, three property at
Correct.
a time, right? So if
Yeah.
you're an entrepreneur and everything goes well with you, you can take yourself to the next level.
Agree. And I actually even have a personal take on that, because here you're just capping your income at a certain 100, 200, 300K, whatever that is. Whereas business is going to give you that opportunity to scale up, whereas there is no cap. Because once you can increase your income, that property can actually scale up eventually simultaneously.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Because otherwise we're trying to increase that income side of things rather than just working on using the income into different streams.
Different, correct. And with property, I cannot say that okay, today I've lost my job, I'll go and sit in the property or the property price will increase, right? But I can go and say that, okay, if I've lost my job, or I have my job, or I do something else, but rather than partying on a Friday or Saturday night, I'll sit in the business, put 3 hours, 4 hours, get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, put 3 hours into the business, and I'll take this business from $200,000 to $300,000 in the next year. So you obviously have that ambition and goal in your mind, which would help you grow this business.
Sure.
And as I always say to everyone, there is never a problem with the business. It's always the operator. Very less there would be, as we discussed earlier, that could be a cafe in a bad location and everything. But that is where you should have created a better business plan initially when you were getting into it.
Sure.
So when you are getting into a business, have a clear business plan, have a clear goal, what you want to do in the next 1 month, in the next 1 year, in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. How would you take it from 100,000 to $1 million in 3 years, 5 years, or even earlier?
That vision is important, and that actually will drive us as well to do better, because otherwise you'll just be stuck in the 9 to 5 doing the same thing for the next 10, 20 years and not growing enough.
Yes, and that is what one of our services in place is, what we call business advisory as well, where you can basically book a session with someone like me or someone else in my company who are business advisors, where we can assess your current situation. So for example, a husband and wife can come to us. They can say that, okay, this is what we do, this is what our plan is in future, right? Or we are tired of our jobs and we want to get into something. We basically create a 30, 60, 90-day plan of action for them. And the good thing about that business advisory is that because we are business broker, it's not about giving you an advice and selling our businesses as well. We would actually give you an advice irrespective of what type of business which we are selling currently, which we have. The advice would be what is suitable for you, and you can basically go out in the market and look for that business. And if you like that business, again, our another service of document diligence and can come into picture as well in there. So so when you get out of that session, you will have a clear goal and plan in mind.
That's wonderful. I think it's much needed, because a lot of people don't know what they want, and this would help them kind of clear that thing out.
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that, Vaibhav. But I wanted to do a quick fire with you for the last 3 questions before we wrap up.
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to know, is there one business model that you'd recommend for someone with under 500K as an investment?
So again, Priyanka, all businesses are different, right? And again, this would come into your personal situation, what business would be suitable. If you have to start with something and you have no idea of businesses, franchisees are really good. And sometimes, and I get all this question a lot, that franchisees are kind of, I don't want to pay 8%, 10% commission to a franchisee, because why would I give someone free money and all? But they have processes, they have national marketing in place. So rather than opening my own ice cream shop with a brand like Vaibhav Ice Cream, right, I can basically go to something like Augustus Ice Cream or Augustus Gelatery, right, and open that particular brand in here. And I can scale it, and you are getting national marketing of whatever number of stores they have across Victoria, Australia, right? You are getting all those benefits. So start with a franchisee system, invest that 200, 250, $300,000, whatever it takes to get into a franchisee. Remember, first franchisee is always about learning, right? And this is how you build your empire in franchisee.
Sure.
You buy one, you buy the second one when you buy, you know everything.
Correct.
Or what mistakes you did with the first one, you don't do that with the second one and third one. And if you've seen the market, I have another demand business, which is Subway, right? People
Yes.
ask me a lot of about Subways and everything. So that's the beauty of Subway, is that now if you see, a Subway owner is not just one store owner. I know Subway owners who own like 7, 8 stores and everything, and they are not in the business. They do something else, right? And those stores are still running.
Because the processes are so much set in stone that it makes that much easier.
Correct.
You're kind of not reinventing the wheel every
Yes, absolutely.
time.
So it's just the same everywhere, and then you replicate it and you put a process in place, and then you don't need to be, you can sit in Greece or Paris and just look at your laptop and see that, okay, what my one store, second store, third store. Everything is on, it's on computer now, right? So you don't need to fill out manual
100%.
forms or anything, right? Everything can be done. You can watch through camera, and then, yeah.
I think that makes sense. And the advice of doing a franchise versus an independent one is so much easier for someone who's starting out. So thank you for that. Is there one common mistake that you see people do when they're buying a business?
So this is what I have seen a lot, right? And there are a lot of people in the market, right, who are looking for businesses. And sometimes I'll tell you my problem. My problem is not finding a customer to buy a business. My problem is finding the right business which I can sell it to my customers.
Fair enough.
Right. So before we put a business into market, we tried our best to do the proper due diligence. Right. And that is where I tell all our clients as well, or whoever know me, that don't buy something in a rush, right? Like don't get panic about that. Oh, I'm not getting a business, and just get into something. I'll give you an example, right? Where somebody, one of the people I am working with, right, one of my clients I'm working as a business advisor, they put a deposit on a restaurant. And I asked him, mate, what experience do you have about running an Indian restaurant? And he says, sir, I have just been to a restaurant in my life, right? So that is where I showed them that it will be very difficult if somebody is pitching you, because obviously the vendor or the broker, they might pitch you as that, oh, you can run it under management, but go and ask the owners of Indian restaurant that how much under management they can run it. Like you never know. Your chef might call in sick one day. Your front office manager will call in sick one day, and you have to go there and stand in your business.
Sure.
Right? You cannot send anyone else.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
If a chef is not there, what would you tell your customer? Sorry, the chef is sick today and we are closed, right? You can't do that. The second time they'll never come in.
Sure.
So that is what we say to people, that don't go just by the look of the business or the numbers or how it's being presented. Do proper due diligence. Have a business plan in mind, right? And this is always I say that you have to be passionate about a business before buying it, right?
Sure.
Otherwise, you are just buying a job. It's like you don't get up in the morning and say, oh, I need to go to this job today.
Agree.
Right?
Agree. Yeah.
You have to be passionate. You should be excited that, okay, rather than getting up at 7, I'll get up at 5 and go to this business because I want to take it to the next level.
Yeah. Otherwise, they'll be better off in a 9 to 5.
Correct. Yeah, that's why. Otherwise, don't leave your job.
I was keen to know about this, Vaibhav. One mindset shift that helps people go from an employee to an owner mindset.
Yes. So, Priyanka, and I do this in my videos that I'll help you quit 9 to 5 grind. But remember, when you are quitting your 9 to 5 job and buying or getting into a business, you are going into a 24/7 role. Right. Right. So it's the business is your child, your baby, right? You cannot leave it. Right. And what we have seen is that as I said earlier, the business is never bad. It's how you operate it, right? So when you are going into a business, have a proper business plan in mind. What you need to do, how would you do it? How would you take it to the next level? So you have to be very clear about it, right? And if you are getting into a business with partnership, right? If there are 2 partners which are coming in there, make sure you guys know exactly what each partner's responsibility is, right? So don't go in there saying that, oh, I don't have time to go into a business, or I cannot spend my weekend there. I need to spend time with my family and everything. Your first priority, obviously, we say that when you're getting into business, you your family life becomes more stable than a job. But before you do that, you need to set up this business in that way that you are able to kind of go from the business to the family life without any stress or anything. So yeah, so your goals, your duties, your responsibility should be very, very clear in your mind.
Sure. And that streamlining that needs to happen mentally needs to be done properly.
Absolutely. So, like, for example, I'm into a business, Priyanka, you are also into a business. Today, we can sit and do this podcast on a weekday, right? And then we don't have to report to anyone or anything. So that's the beauty of business. But again, you might be working on this podcast or speaking to a client at 8 o'clock in the night, and I do the same as well, right? I like we are selling a business to someone in Canada, and we have like 7 o'clock in the morning calls,
Yeah.
or a 10 p.m. night call or something like that. Yeah.
And because I think also the thing that you mentioned before this is being passionate. Because we're passionate, we
Passionate
can do it.
about it.
Otherwise,
Correct.
we wouldn't do it.
Absolutely.
Perfect, Vaibhav. Thank you for sharing that. But before I let you go, I am very keen to know pick your brain on the Melbourne real estate market.
Yes. So, though I'm a business broker, but I do attend all those real estate seminars, REIV seminars as well. And I do talk to real estate agents every day, because I do have real estate agents who bring me clients as well, because they have a client who they sold a house, but they are looking for a business, and I try to help them. Now, with Melbourne real estate, it's becoming very interesting. Obviously, people are saying that Melbourne hasn't been growing in the last 4 or 5 years, right? What my take on real estate is, and if you want to get into development, because one part of our company, Greenfields Real Estate, we do acreages and farms as well. A lot, right? So, and this is from one of the seminars I attended, and they said that Melbourne's population is growing from 7 million to 15 million by 2050. So in next 25 years, you will have more than double the amount of people what you see in Melbourne, right? So you'll have about 9 million more people. So the investment which I suggest, and this is my take after talking to a lot of people, is that the government, they want to create infrastructure, schools, transportation out in outer suburbs and everything, which is becoming very expensive for them because the construction cost is rising. So what we do is, if somebody is really interested in development, and this is one of our other services as well, which in my company we offer, is if you want to invest, for example, in the eastern suburbs or the 20-kilometer radius of Melbourne CBD, there are a lot of opportunities for subdivisions, right? You buy a land 900 square meters in Chadstone or Glen Waverley, right? Build 3 or 4 townhouses on it. And that is what you sell, because the schools are there, the infrastructure is there, the schools are top rated there, right? So people want to settle in these areas, and obviously people don't have budget of $3-4 million. So obviously, when you buy something which is 900 square meter, a townhouse, you might probably get it for $1 million, right? And you are able to live in a suburb which has the best shopping centers, which has the best schools, right? So that is there. Otherwise, if you are a big long-term investor, you have the holding capacity, then we suggest go out of Melbourne, look into the regional areas, or not even regional areas, but 50 kilometers, 60 kilometers out of Melbourne, try to get into farms. So taking an example, something like Mickleham or Clyde North or Cranbourne, or if you go here like Werribee, right? 15 years back, these suburbs were suburbs where there was no development at all, and people were buying farms there, right? So imagine, like, if they have developed and people have made a lot of wealth around it. Imagine 10 years, 15 years down the line, if you invest in farms in Lara, in outer suburbs of Southeast, in northern suburbs, right? You'll actually make it. And recently, yesterday or day before yesterday, Beveridge North is a upcoming new suburb, right? With 15,000 residents, if I'm correct, there. So beverage 10 years back, nobody heard about them.
Yeah, same.
Right? So
Yeah.
people who have farms there, they have just hit a lottery or a gold mine.
Wow, nice. So I think that
Right,
makes sense that the borders are expanding.
Expanding, right?
So I think investing there would be
So-
great for us and maybe the next generation as well.
Yes, absolutely. The transportation, the roads will be made and everything. So people will be like, you see the tunnels and all
Yeah.
those getting created. Though that is to make the faster transportation,
sure.
right? And inner suburbs, obviously, the Victorian government, they are focusing on these inner suburbs so that people can build more apartments. So if
Sure.
you look at Sydney's inner 20 kilometers are like really expensive,
Sure.
right? And they have all
Sure.
those apartments and everything. Melbourne will also grow
Go down
around
that
those
path.
areas.
Makes sense. Great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Vaibhav.
Sure.
And
Thank you
it
very
was
much for
great talking to you.
Yeah, sure. Same
Thank
here.
you.
Priyanka.